Hello, everybody. It is Seth Apter. I am back live simultaneously on both Facebook and YouTube. Trust when I say it is a better experience on YouTube with less glitching. So if you're on Facebook and you want to switch over in the beginning of this video, I'm going to recommend that. I hope everybody's doing well. I am excited to see you all. If you're here watching live, please leave a message, a comment. Some of you already have, so I know that you're here. If you're watching on recording, please leave a message as well. I will periodically look through. If you have any burning questions, though, and you're on a recorded watch, you might want to message or email me so you make sure that I actually see it. I want to thank Janine for being here. She's behind the scenes working probably harder than me. She is going to be answering questions, summarizing what I say, adding links, and she is going to be doing that back and forth, Facebook, YouTube. So I think she needs a raise. I want to welcome you. If you're here again live, let me know that you're here. Allison is in the house. Bonnie, Sue, Jim, Anne, Loie, Janet, Marie, Wendy, Ikana. A happy Valentine's to you too, Ikana, and to everybody else here. Thank you so much, Joy, for already ordering the powders. That is so cool. Hey, Paige, Beverly, Shirley, Paul, Christine, Monique. All right, we got a lot of people, and we got a lot of people from a lot of different places, which I love. I love when people from all over the world join me. Thank you so much. I feel like you're literally right here in my studio. I don't know if you could all fit, but we could try. Hey, Jenny. Hey, Tammy. Hey, Vaughn, Rhonda. Welcome. So I am back from Germany. Of course, if you're watching this a year or two from now, I will have been back for a while, but I had a great experience at a trade show there, Creative World. And one of the things I did while I was there was officially release my new embossing powders with Wow. They weren't available to anybody, but they were released. I got to demo with them and see people's responses and reactions for the first time. And that is always, 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 always exciting. Hey, Nancy, thanks for joining me. So today I get to share them with you. I am going to spend another 2-3 minutes kind of saying hi, letting you know what's happening, looking at the comments so that we can begin the reveal. Not too long from now, but I can stall a little bit so maybe some more people will have a chance to see the alert and get on live. It is so good to see you all, though. I do miss y'all, and there's going to be a lot of things coming up. We're not going to talk about that today, but there'll be a lot of chances for me to connect with you online and in person all year. So if you're here, a couple things. If you don't already follow me and you're on YouTube and you want to subscribe to my channel, that would make me happy. A reminder to you all that we live and breathe through social media. So anytime you want to give me a thumbs up, especially on a recording of a video, that really helps. I thank you. Thank you. And of course, we're going to put links into my online shop. I know I have an online shop now, and it is at sethapter.com. Janine's going to put direct links to make it easier for you, but you can always just go there, sethapter.com, and click over to the shop link and see all the treasures that are there. I want to welcome Kim and Amanda. What I am really excited about, seriously, because I know where you all come from. People are here from all over. We got many countries. So what are we going to do today? We are going to reveal. What are we revealing? We're revealing embossing powders. I have a new quad set, a set of 4. It's the only way to get it. You have to get all 4. And I am excited about it. And there's lots of specifics I want to share with you about it. That's going to morph into a little bit of tips and tricks for embossing, because there are tips and tricks for embossing. There's a lot of ways to do it. These powders are mixed media powders. I'll explain what that means. So there's some different things you can do when you use them to create very different effects. And then we're going to do a little bit of a demo. It's really going to be a swatching. I love swatching. I like to swatch anything. I even like to say the word swatch. So we're going to be swatching embossing powders. And if you've never done that, yeah, you should. So I'll tell you what we're going to be using in case you want to just grab whatever powders you might have and you want to swatch along. We'll give it another minute or two. Ooh, we already got a drum roll from Beverly. She's eager. I like that. Thanks, Beverly. And Paul, appreciate that. Anytime you get a yummy on a product, that's a good sign. So thankful for all your support. Hey, Monique. Paul's also loving the names. Naming my products is so much fun. You know, I don't need to compare it to how fun it is to create them or to use them, but it's fun to name the products because by the time you're naming it, a lot of the hard work has already been done. Yeah, I got that amazing product right there, and it kind of names itself. And then Allison, yes, let's go back in time. Always fun to do that. Do I remember swatch watches? I sure do. And you know, it might be a time for a pendulum swing back to swatch watches. Probably the company's not around, but I don't know. I would buy another swatch watch, even though I haven't worn a watch in 20 some odd years, but I do remember them. Janine mentions one thing, that these powders aren't even named after food. One of my most favorite things to do is name my products after food. And obviously, hopefully you know the food's not in there. So if a paint is called guacamole, please don't put your chips in it and try to eat it. But I don't know. I love food. I love art. Put them together. Yeah, get a name with a food item, a food group in it. And we have a first timer, which I love. Jamie's here. First time. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Always great to have new people. Always great to have people who have been here before. But I want to welcome you and thank you for popping in and joining me. And I hope you enjoyed today. And come to the next one as well. All right. All right. Let's move along. So, relatively short preamble. Hey, Fifi. I have been working with WOW, releasing embossing powders and assorted products related to that for quite a number of years now. I have a lot of powders. They're all available to see in my shop. They are all what I call mixed media powders. What are mixed media powders? Mixed media powders are, I'm going to just say, non-traditional powders. So the original powders that were used and developed early on, they were very, very fine. And the reason why they were fine is because these powders were used with rubber stamps. And in order to make sure that the image from the rubber stamp was seen clearly, the powder had to be fine. If it was big or chunky or variable, it just wouldn't stick as well. You know, it would be imperfect. So back in the day, I guess everybody wanted perfect, but you know me, I vote for imperfect every time, hence mixed media powders. Mixed media powders are multiple powders mixed together. They're different sizes, they're different shapes. Sometimes they're different materials. Sometimes they're matte, sometimes they're shiny. Sometimes they weigh different amounts. So the key to that, hey, Rebecca, is you always want to shake the bottle. That's tip number one. I'm not going to count out the tips because there's going to be a lot. With any mixed media powder, shake the bottle, because if you don't, you're only going to get the lightest crystal that's sitting on the top and didn't sink to the bottom while that jar was sitting on your shelf. So that's worth the price of admission. And if you want to go now, I guess you can. But really what I want to do today is I want to show you my mixed media powders. So let's all take a look downward and let's get this cranking. So if you haven't seen this already, these are available as of this morning. You can get them at SethApter.com. You can also get them at the WOW websites. The WOW has a website in the US and also in the UK. And there are a number of independent shops who purchase this at the store and through WOW. I'm sorry, not at the store, at the trade show, but I don't know who has them yet, so I can't quite direct you. but the set is called Enchanted Alchemy. What is alchemy? Alchemy is kind of the mixing of multiple metals. And to me, it's just magic because 1 + 1 equals something else. And that is what these powders are all about. So there are 4 in the set. They are called Gilded Patina. And just by that name, you got to know that's my favorite. Amethyst Ice, Copper Dust, and Prism. I'm going to show you these in a lot of different ways today, but what I really want to make sure you know that when you see a mixed media embossing powder in the jar, it may or may not look exactly like it does when it's melted. And that's particularly true with my powders because different melts, different pours, different backgrounds can change how they look. But let me just tell you, I think these have great shelf appeal. So these are the beauties. So this one, Gilded Patina, Amethyst Ice, Copper Dust, and Prism. Prism is the most interesting in terms of how it changes. It's got quite the look and feel of green because there are green particles in it, but actually shifts a little bit more to sort of a bluish, greenish, grayish, whitish, all the colors. I love all the colors. And I really do love how these look in the jars. So sometimes my palette is very muted and dark, and so you see the embossing powders and they kind of just look a little dull till you use them, of course. But I think this packs a wallop. So I'm going to take you through, show you how they look on paper, show you some samples. We're going to do some swatching. I'm actually even going to like pour these out in a bowl so you can see what they look like outside the jar. Oh, by the by, Wow is really a classy, wonderful company. And what I do want to say is that all their bottles are anti-static bottles. Those of you who know a lot about embossing know the issue of static and the powders sticking to other parts of what you are working on. But these are anti-static. And if you work them and close them and protect them, that lasts for a while. All right, so what do we got? Let's start with Copper Dust. All right, so this is Copper Dust. And I just want you to see Copper Dust in all its glory. So I'm going to give it a shake, practice what I preach. And then I'm going to just pour some out in the bowl. So you can get a sense of what this powder looks like. I mean, I think it's a beaut. But what you see here is a little bit different. A little bit different than what it melts like. What I do want to make mention too, because there's a question here already, are they available individually? No. So what Wow does is Wow creates duos, triples, and quads. And for quite a long time, they're only available that way. At some point, months and months and months later, maybe even a year later, they're broken up. But now you got to get all 4. So that's the Copper Dust. And when Copper Dust is melted, it looks kind of like that. Now, I am really, really curious. I want and need feedback. I need you to tell me which of the 4 ends up being your favorite, which ones you don't like. I want you to tell me what you think. Are you surprised that it looks like that, given that it looks like that in the jar? And then we're going to play a little bit. Welcome, Tracy. So that is Copper Dust. And what I really want you to know, although it's not so easy to see on camera, it's got a sheen. So all of my powders, all 4, they are scratchy. I don't think you can hear that. They feel textural. They feel scratchy. They're a little bit like sandpaper. They're matte. But in that matteness, there is shine. So they all have that beautiful, there we go, that beautiful contrast of matte and shine. And yes, you see more colors as you move the paper. It's almost like an interference effect. It's not a true interference effect, like interference paint, but it catches the light in spectacular ways. So sometimes it looks matte and flat, and sometimes, oh yeah, that shine. Can you see that shine? Oh yeah, I could just do this for the next 5 hours, but you probably get a little bit bored and want to see the other ones. So that's copper dust. I want to make mention that this was created by taking the WOW embossing pad, which is available in my shop, by the by. Janine might want to put a link to it, and using specialty cardstock. I just pressed the pad in over and over and over again. And then I poured the powders on, and I got this. Now, the thing about mixed media powders is every pour, and I promise you this, and every project is a little bit different. And for some people, that is scary, but for me, that's the best. Just like when I use paint, it's not always going to look exactly the same. It depends on how heavy it is, the shape, the pour, the layers, what's underneath it. And so I really want you to know that sometimes this looks very differently. But I want to give you an example of that. So I did some kind of simple, fun projects. And what I did was I just used this beautiful kind of lime green handmade paper. I swatched using my new, I call it the Spanish tile rubber stamp. It's from Paper Artsy ESA 45, one of the one of 3 new stamp sets I released in the last few weeks. And I love that stamp, so I used it over and over again as a way also of comparison. And I want you to note a few things. I want you to note that this kind of looks different than that, right? This is, again, on sort of a lime green, beautiful lime green paper there. But really notice the difference. These powders, the copper powder in here is a little bit larger than the other powders. There's many different colors of blue and some grays. So when you have a large expanse and a free pour, you get a lot of copper. When you're using it the old school way with a rubber stamp, you get less copper. I still think this is phenomenal. And there is copper in there, but it's less. And what I really want you to note is that this pour, the color here looks even different than the color here. Same background. And that's because this one just happened to have more of the softer, lighter skyer blue. And this one had a little bit more of the grayer blue. And I'm going to try to tip it so you can see that you do get some shine when it catches the light. It's very scratchy. And I don't know, I think that's fascinating. So I really, 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 really want you to realize this, because you're going to get some different things, and it may not exactly look exactly like what I see here exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's right. All right, so let's move that aside, and let's move on to, let's go with Prism next. All right, so Prism. Let me try to be organized here. This is Prism. This is the one that I said it looks pretty greenish. What? That's not Prism. That's gilded patina. Let's go back. I have Prism. Prism is the one I said looks pretty greenish, as you can see. You can also see that shine, right? So let's just open from the top, and that looks quite blue and clear, and there's a ton of different colors in there. Look at the bottom. That looks more green. I need to show this to you, because if you don't shake, you're only going to get a portion. So I want to shake. I need to come up with a theme song so that when I pour it out, you can see you're going to get a combination of everything there. And despite the fact that there's all that beautiful green sheen, Prism actually has a ton of blue and gray and violet. And I just want you to see the crystals, all those sheen, that sheen is from those green, kind of limey green crystals, and also from some clear crystals. I just think that is, I don't know, I just think that's phenomenal. But that's just me. I want you to know, let me know what you think about this. So when I swatch that out, this is what it looks like. A little bit different, I think, than that green at the bottom. But you can see the green tones. They're everywhere. They're just mixed in with the grays and the different shades of blues and the whites. Do you see that sheen there? There's even some silver. How gorgeous that is. And with the violet. And so when you catch the light in the right place, you get that magical look. That's where look at that. That's where the alchemy is. And it's so much fun to watch these being heated because they really change. And I just love that. Again, this is scratchy, matte, textural. It is also got all that glint. And when something like that happens, oh, that's my favorite. That's why I love these mixed media powders, because they're so random and impossible to control. Which again, if you're new to it, it's scary, but the possibilities are endless. Now let's take a look at that with my Spanish tile stamp. And that is that. So it looks differently when you use it with a rubber stamp than when you use it with a large expanse. I love to use both. I use my mixed media powders a lot to create backgrounds, full-on backgrounds or elements on a panel, I don't really often make cards, but on collage elements. But I also love them with rubber stamps. And so we're yeah, there you go. Do you see it catch the light there? So, at first look, they just look gray. Oh, they are so not just gray. Every time you move it, you're going to see a different light catch. And because it has all those greens and the lavenders, you get that real magical element there, which I just think is so beautiful. And you can also see, based on the background that's popping through the spaces in this stamp, the pink, this is painted. This is from a gel plate pole. It's a background that I cut up into a smaller piece. There was some gray from my paper artsy paint. That was steel gray. And then that pink, that's from my, I think it's from my Spanish mulberry. And when you have the different background, do you see how it really pops there? So really important to note that as you're using these on the background, this is another one of those tips. Be considerate of what the background is. It makes a difference. And I'm really going to show you that with the last sample that I'm going to show you today. So that is Prism. All right, so let's just do a little review. We've got Copper Dust, we've got Prism. If you're just joining me, these are my new embossing powders from WOW. They come in a quad set of 4. The set is called Enchanted Alchemy. The 4 colors are Gilded Patina, Amethyst Ice. Those 2 I haven't shown you yet. Copper Dust and Prism. You can only get them as a set of 4, and they are available now. And you can get them in my shop at sethapter.com. All right, let's move on from the commercial. Let's go to, oh, you guys got to know, like I said earlier, it is my favorite, Gilded Patina. I love that name. That name is so special to me. I have a lot of products that are patina related, and I never want to run out of a good name, and I like Gilded Patina. I think it goes really well with the concept of the set as Enchanted Alchemy. Let's take a look at Gilded Patina. So beautiful. So beautiful, my friends. All right, so we got our bowl. We're going to open it, show it to you. Look at that patina. But really look closely because there are, I think, 1,001, almost literally, different crystals in here, all different shapes, all different sizes, all different weights, all different colors. And so this one in particular, sometimes you get the beautiful kind of bronzy copper tone, strong. Sometimes you get that incredible patina green. If you look really, really closely, and I'll show you in a second, there is this gorgeous blue. And there's other crystals as well. You never know what you're going to get. You never know. So let's just pour some out. Oh, my. This is making me a happy camper. Such a happy camper. Let's look at that. And is it catching the light? Yeah, it's got the matte. It'll have the matte, flat, scratchy finish with those beautiful hints of glints. Oh, maybe I'll call something that a hint of glint. Just love that. All right, so what does that look like melted? Well, in this case, it looks like that. And you might be surprised when you see it. So if you look at it, it's kind of in sections. So it just happened with the pour that this section is much more bronzy and coppery. Just look how gorgeous that is. Oh, there it is. That's the shot, my friends. Do you see that? I need to just do a reel where that bounces back and forth. Oh boy. Okay, I'm getting distracted. I feel like I'm sort of mesmerized by that. But then I want you to go a little further down into the center. And do you see, look how delicious it is when you get a hunk of the green patina flavor. It's also beautiful when the green patina just randomly goes through the sort of copper. And then, my friends, look at that blue. Now, anyone who knows rust, and I know rust, and you know rust and patina. Rust and patina, it's just not brown and green. It's all the different flavors, and there's a lot of blue rust. So when this was made, I needed something that was like elevated rust, but was true to rust. So sometimes you get a lot of that blue. It just varies. But no matter what you get this gorgeousness. It's very scratchy. And again, one more time before I show you the sample, I just got to have it catch the light. Oh, man. I mean, am I the only one that's mesmerized by this? All right, let me just go to some of the comments because there's some nice, good comments here. Anna says, I have a feeling these are going to be my new favorites. Thank you, Anna. Appreciate that. Fifi says they are amazing. I so appreciate that. Joy says something so true. I love that the powders look different depending upon if they were done with a rubber stamp or not. It's like getting 2 powders in one jar. And let me tell you, my friends, that's what I'm all about when I make products. I want them to be incredibly worth the money and incredibly versatile so that when you use them today and you use them tomorrow, you can get completely different experiences. And when I use them and you use them, we're going to get different things. All right, there was also a question earlier. I'm just going to, oh, I like this one. Glintsy overload. I like that. Somebody asked about my die cuts. They're not available. I'm now working with Sizzix. I'm just going to answer that question till June 2nd. Till June 2nd. So I am not showing any of those for this moment at all. All right, I appreciate that you guys are also mesmerized. Beverly says, I think Gilded Patina might need to be ordered by the bucket. I'm okay with that. Chiquita's Crochet. I love Wow powders too. They're so good. Oh, I just love that you're all mesmerizing. So the question is, was the paper just plain white before adding the powders? So this is, I'm going to call a specialty paper. That's the back. It's plain white. It's not just cardstock. It's something I've been using more and more lately, and people have been asking about it. It is from Paper Artsy. Again, one of my companies. It's not my product, but it is their smoothie paper. And let me tell you, when you work on smoothie, It's like working on no other surface in the world. And let me also tell you that when I demoed with it in an older video, someone asked me about, will I carry it in my shop? And then someone else did, and someone else did. So yes, I am carrying it in my shop. I have it here. It hasn't been uploaded. I'm going to upload it later today. So if you're interested in this paper, it comes in two thicknesses, a heavier and a lighter one. It will be available. And it, especially for stamping, the smoothness of this surface puts sort of traditional cardstock to shame. And usually I don't like smooth. I like rough and bumpy. But sometimes you got to have it smooth. All right. So now, remember these guys? I've been talking for an hour and a half, so not really, but remember how different this looks with the stamp? So we're going to see that here as well. So this is gilded patina using my Spanish tile stamps. And it is different. All right, I mean, it's gorgeous and it's beautiful. And it's actually more variable, but in a sort of a smoother transitional way because there's not all these large areas. So everything you see here is here, but because it's in segments, it's just not so obvious. But you're going to see that blue. See if I can catch that. You're going to see that blue, several different shades of blue. You're going to see the beautiful bronzy copper tone. There's some white crystals in here as well, and you're going to be able to see those, and you're definitely going to be able to see those green crystals, but they're going to be a little less obvious here, and they're also extra less obvious because I happen to do it on watercolor paper, handmade paper that is almost the shade of that. So they're going to get a little lost, but they're in there too. And I don't know. I just think this is amazing. Question was, is this washi? This is washi tape. It's a roll that I've had for years. I'm looking for it. And I really, really love it. And I have no clue where I got it. I don't sell it. I don't know who made it. I don't know. There's no branding on it. I just think it's really cool, and I use it for this project. However, if you do like washi tape, I forgot to tell you, Janine, you're going to have to get a link to this. I also included in the next series some of my own washi tape, which I'll show you. Old wallpaper, yes, that's exactly what I was going for with this stamp, the Spanish tile look, but that, you know, faded wallpaper, torn, ripped. And I'm going to do a demo at some point to show you kind of how to get that as if it's been layered over years with lots of other colors. But yeah, I think this is beautiful. And it's also got that sheen. You know, it's again a little less obvious, the sheen, although it's there because it's not. Oh, there it is. There it is. It's just not in the look at that. It's not in the volume that you see here. Oh, hypnotizing. All right, so I could talk about gilded patina the whole time, but that's not fair to the last one, which is also one that I love. Thank you guys so much for this positive feedback. Again, as a designer, you work hard on all these things in secret, in private. You know, you're not really allowed to. You shouldn't. You know, people call me a T sometimes because I can't help it. I gotta show you a little bit. But you know, it's months and months sometimes where you have all these products and these designs, and no one knows, no one sees. You don't know if they're going to be liked, not liked, loved. So these days, these release days, that's why this is why I'm this. I need to do a to capture that segment of that that 1 second segment and show that on a reel. But this is why I get so excited, because I finally can share with you and get your feedback. That's why I always ask you to tell me what you like or don't like. I'm okay with that. You're not going to like everything. All right, let's go back. Now we get our last one, Amethyst Ice. And yes, people have noticed I go through phases, and yes, I don't know if Nancy's still here. I did go through that blingy phase. Now you see this sort of beautiful combination of the very flat, matte, scratchy with the glint. But I have been using a lot more pink. You know, you saw it in here. There's also the lavenders in some of these powders, but this one is kind of pinky pinky. I mean, at first glance, it's bluey bluey, but it's kind of pinky pinky. So let me pour this out. Oh, you know what? I am going to answer this question because it's a good question. Does WOW send you pots and you mix, or because it's across the pond from each other? So I make my powders with WOW 2 different ways. They have provided me with every powder that they have. I mean, every powder. And they've also provided me with a lot of the glitters and the sparkles, which I don't typically use, but they provide me with every powder. So sometimes I sit as if I'm a mad scientist. I know Mary Beth Shaw talks about being a mad scientist, and I mix and I come up with my own mixes. I swatch them, I see what I like, and then they have to figure out the recipe. I give them what I put in, but you know, when I'm making it in a teaspoon size, when they use my ratios and they make it in big bulk, it changes it. So they work their magic. They send me the swatch and I say yes or no, needs more of this, needs more of that. The other way they do it is I say to them, I am looking for something that's like very rough, but I want some glints and it needs that patina, and you know, maybe throw in some of this and that, and then they mix it, they make it, and they send me the swatch, and I say yay, nay, and then we go back and forth, and that's how it works. It's really a great collaboration. But back to Amethyst Ice. Hey, everybody's just joining me. Thank you so much. We are on the last of the 4 powders, but I'm going to be here a little while longer because after I show you the samples for this one, I am going to swatch them, and in a kind of a special way. All right, so this is Amethyst Ice, and just love this one too. So this one is lots of different colors. There is this gorgeous sort of rich light blue. There's a gorgeous rich darker blue. There is this lavender shade. There's all that white, and you can actually 100% see that those white specks are larger than the other specks, and there's lots of very small specks there too. You can see them stick to the edges. So it's really an alchemy of lots of different things. So when Wendy says this is my favorite right now, you are talking about Amethyst Ice. So let me show you what it looks like, see if it's still your favorite. So swatch large on the white smoothie card. This is what you get. And again, you kind of get those swirls. Someone had mentioned that they were sort of swirling before, and it's just the way in which they're poured. But you can see here, you got the whites. That white is a melted crystal. It's not the white of the paper coming through. These are all very opaque. But it's got the darker blue. It's got the lighter sky blue. It's got a lot of that beautiful lavender. And it's matte and scratchy. But it's also got some glints. I'm going to try to catch it. The one that's the most glinty, well, it's not true. I think Gilded Patina is quite glinty, but this actually has quite a lot of glints too. You might see it better in something I'm going to show you next. Okay, this might be the best comment ever. Dude. Okay, thank you for that. I just think, again, this is, oh, we're getting some glints. Just so gorgeous. So I really wanted to share with you this whole story of mixed media. Galaxy background, yes. Leah, okay, that's a good comment to get too. So amazing, I almost fainted from amazement. Please be sitting down for this. There's more to come. So yeah, this is going to look differently, swatched out like that. Does look like a galaxy and trails, yep. Then when you use it in a stamp, and when you use it in a stamp, because there's so many powders, you're going to get all these different effects, and they're going to be different also based on the background when you stamp, because the background's going to show through. So I made 3 samples of this. Unlike these, I only made 1, just because I just wanted to show you. It's a nice little collection, right? That's a nice looking display. Okay, I'm distracted again. So I really wanted to show you these 3 things because it almost looks like you're using different powders. And that is right. That's not wrong. So when I use this on a beautiful indigo background, I mean, ooh and ah, people, right? Isn't this an ooh and an ah? I mean, you wouldn't even know it was that powder. It's cray cray, right? Thank you, Renee. All right. Squirrel, exactly. Yeah. Um, just look how beautiful that is. And here you can really see the glint. There are so many colors in each of these powders. It's just phenomenal. Just, really, like, people, come on. That is just so friggin' beautiful. But it looks so very different because of the darkness that comes through from that indigo blue in the background. But I love that. It kind of says it looks like an actual torn up tile. Yes, my stamp is doing its job. I do want to make mention that in addition to this washi tape from I Wish I Knew, because I want to get more, there is my washi tape. So those of you, most of you might know, but a lot of you might not. I do have my own line of washi, something I developed this past year. It's the first time I did my own. There are five tapes, and this one is one of them. Janine can put a link to my washi, so in case you like it. But I thought it was a really nice bridge that worked with all of the ones I'm about to show you. All right, so see that. Remember, it's that. But wait a minute, look at that. I mean, does that look like it's the same powder? No. Again, I love that, I love that, I love that. So this actually resembles this a little bit more, but not really. It's still a little different. And the reason why it resembles this is because of the colors in the background. Again, this is a jelly plate print that I pulled using my own paints. Honestly, I don't quite remember what it is in there, but I believe there's agave and there is Venice blue. There's some soft sort of, I don't have any peachy. I don't know what that is, but it's something, and a few other colors. So because that background is, you know, a little bit more in keeping with this background, it sort of feels the same. All right, so again, one little jar, all these different effects, but wait, there's more. What if I use something like that? This is kind of, again, going a little pink, my friends. This is a pink blush. And when I use the powder on that, I get that. Paul wonders if heavy cream was used there. I use heavy cream with everything. So I'm guessing there's probably some heavy cream. You know what I just noticed? I might have used some powder pink as well, which is a subtly pinkish neutral. All right, so yeah, I just love this. And if you look closely, you're going to see, you know, while it does seem to highlight the violet, there is actually a lot of blue in there. And again, it's scratchy, glinty, rough. It's the best of everything there. And there's the washi tape. So all three, I don't know. It's looking kind of like gift wrap. Gift wrap and wallpaper. Maybe I need to make my own gift wrap and wallpaper. I always wanted to make wallpaper. I don't know why, because I've never used wallpaper. But anyway, so that is what I got for you. So a couple sums before we just do a little bit of swatching my way. We have, let's just review, copper dust, where the swatch looks like that. We have gilded patina, where the swatch looks like that. We have prism, where the swatch looks like that. And last but not least, of course, we have amethyst ice, where the swatch looks like all of those. So we got some good stuff, right? So there's a question before I move on. For the tile looking one, did you emboss all over, then heat, then stamp over, then emboss again? Guess I'm wondering why it seems thicker embossing than other examples. Oh, well, part of the reason why it's thick is because it's the mixed media powder. So the powders, the chunks are not fine. If you were here at the very beginning, I was talking about historically the original embossing powders, and many now were fine, so that when you got the rubber stamp, you didn't miss any of it. But for mine, they're much more textural and chunky. So all I did literally was, I'm not going to do it because I want to take the time doing something else, but I just put this on a block. I open the cap and I use the embossing pad like that. I got my smoothie. I pressed it in, gave some pressure. So I got a decent coverage, took my embossing powder, shook it, and then I poured it on, tipped off the excess, heated it, and then I got that. So really one step, just like a traditional stamping. All right. And I know Janine probably could have said that in 4 words, but it took me 15 sentences. And I'm still going. All right, let's move. Let's move. So we're going to swatch my way. Before we swatch my way, one more way to see these powders. Again, every time you do it, it looks a little bit different. So there's the gilded patina, and there's that shine. The glint and the shine when it catches the light. There's copper dust, and again, you see the copper. Look at, it's textural. And it's also matte. And then we have our amethyst ice. I love that pour. And we have the prism, which again looks very different each and every time. So for those of you who are just joining me, the powders are 4 new releases that went live today. They are in a quad. The only way to get them is in a quad. They're sold together. Enchanted Alchemy. We have Gilded Patina, Amethyst Ice, Copper Dust, and Prism. And at some point, I don't know when, WoW hasn't told me yet, 9 months from now, a year from now, they will be broken up into individuals. So if you go into my shop now, you'll see I have quite a number of powders, a number of the sets, my citrus and my building blocks, the last release, they are still in quads, not individual. All the other ones from before were triplets, and now they are all singles. Oh, and Shirley's asking, oh yeah, what a great question. Whoops, clicked on it wrong, but I'm glad that Dream and Imagine and Created can't wait to get hers. And yes, you can use an embossing folder with it for sure. Okay. You know, you can die cut this stuff, which is so cool. All right, so last thing we're going to do, and, you know, just in terms of the time, I wanted to go an hour. We have about 10 minutes, so we'll see how far I get. I wanted to do some swatching my way. So if you want to swatch along, you're going to need a rubber stamp, if you do it my way, that has spaces that you can fill in as if there were swatches. This is how I like to swatch. I make a lot of rubber stamps that may not necessarily scream swatching, but that's, I mean, you can use this for a lot, but that's my point. And this is from, it's an older one of mine. It's ESA 20. It's my 20th set with Paper Artsy. A couple weeks ago, I released my 43rd, 4th, and 5th, but it's that stamp there. There's some other cool ones. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount it on an acrylic block, which I like to do for this swatching thing. And I'm going to use my favorite ink. It's a Shashihata ink. It's this incredible ink, which I have been using for a while in these minis. And I've been trying to find a source for them so that I can sell them in my shop. And it took me months, but I finally found them. I uploaded them a couple days ago, maybe yesterday. I can't even remember. It's a blur. And I let my group know in advance. And if you're not in the Seth Apter creative community on Facebook, a free group, please join, because they found out in advance. And I didn't even need the next morning as planned to send my newsletter, which was all written, or post on social media, because literally they all sold out. I reordered it, so they'll come eventually, but they're oil pigment based. They dry permanently. very crisp, just very beautiful. I am choosing to do this swatching on a rough instead of the smooth paper I used before. For the big swatches, this is a rough watercolor paper. And so it's going to be uneven, and I'm okay with that. I love that. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to use, this is a fresh ink. I just broke the seal and opened it. So I want you to see how it stamps so you can get a sense of it. And, you know, for this, I did want a permanent ink just because I'm going to be fooling around with other things when I swatch, you know, sometimes wet material. I'm just going to lay it out. I'm going to give some pressure. And I always overdo it with the pressure, but I'd rather have it crisp and dark when I want it that way. And then I'm going to lift it up. And I got that. Now, remember, this is rough cold press watercolor paper, so you're never going to get it evenly because all the little bumps are going to stop that. But I'm okay with that. Totally okay with that. I'm going to put this aside, and I'm going to show you how I swatch now. I swatch with something else that I think many of you kind of know. It is the Wow, let's see if I can get it there, the Wow Mixed Media Embossing Brush by me. All the goop, we say it's a technical term, that's in the pad is liquid in the bottle. The bottle opens so you can access the liquid. It gives you lots of opportunity to do a million and one things, especially create very textural, thick backgrounds. And the reason why I like to use this is because I need, for this kind of swatching, to get into these little nooks and crannies. So what I'm going to basically do is open it up. There's a brush attached, and it's very thick liquid. It's really thick. And so I'm going to need to make sure that I kind of pull some off before I use the brush. Otherwise, it's just going to kind of pour off the brush. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to kind of loosely, I don't want it to be perfect. Definitely don't want it to be perfect. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to fill in, I'm just going to do 3 segments the first go around. You know, let's make the circle. That's what I like about these wonky swatch stamps. You know, they're a little outside the box. Now, just like with the pad, sometimes it's hard to see if you've gotten the goop everywhere. I'm going to assume I have. I'm going to cap this because we don't want this liquid falling all over. You can kind of see it's a little yellower and it has a bit of a shine. So what am I going to do? I am going to do some swatching, kind of a sort of a special way. I'm going to get gilded patina, and I'm kind of going to do 3 pours. There's such a small space, but I am going to try to do 3 pours so that you can see that even in some scratch paper, even in this small space, you might get some different looks. So I'm going to do that. And then let's just get a little bit of a different mix. Some people are asking about this. This is on my website. Janine can put a link to it so you can read about it. I should also mention that Wow in the past had a roller ball that had a black cap. This was actually their re-inker. Some of you may not know this if you have this. They discontinued this. So this is now also not just the brush for mixed media and embossing, but it's the re-inker. So if you ever need another one, this is the one to get. I didn't cap this all the way. That's what happened. So let's get a different shake. Let's just see. Maybe they'll all look the same. Maybe not. You just never know. And I'm going to shake it again. I'm making a nice mess so you know I'm having fun. Once I start making my messes, it's because I kind of forget you're even here and I'm just playing. Okay. And this is the nice thing about this brush too. I missed a spot. Do I care about that? Not really. But just to show you the benefit of the brush, I can go right in and I could fill that up so that I can then get the full pour. All right, now I'm going to put this back in the bottle. You guys all know the consistency of finger polish, Cheryl says. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to heat it. And I'm going to heat it from the bottom. If I'm working on paper, I often heat from the bottom. And I especially do that when I have these thicker media embossing brush and I want more texture, because if I kind of pile it up and I heat from the top, it's all going to fly away. But if I pile it up and I heat from the bottom, it's not going to move at all. And you're going to get a thicker, crunchier, richer. I'm going to go ahead and remember, it's going to change color. It's going to look differently. Right now, that copper is a star. That may or may not be true when it melts. There it goes. Once I melt it a little bit from the bottom, I can go to the top, hot, so it's not going to blow anything away. All right, so there I have it. There you have it. Those little squares. Oh, I'm going to try to get them in view. There we go. So nice. I'm resisting touching them till they dry, but they're thick. I don't know if you can sense the dimensional feel to them. They're scratchy. They're shiny. Oh, yeah, look at that. I love that sheen. As Cheryl says, yes, heat from the top, and you get a glitter cloud. Now, some people love that. I, for one, not so much. So I don't have time, but what I would do when I'm swatching is I would continue to swatch along the way. So maybe I would do the next one, the next one, the next one. If I only had 4 to swatch, which I do, maybe when I got my original swatch stamp, I would only ink up those 4. So I would have exactly the number I need. But the one thing I want to do to end this, even if it takes me over a couple minutes, is I want to show you that, remember if you were here earlier, I was pouring the powders into this jar so you could see them? Well, after I poured them, I'm sorry, this is not a jar, into this beautiful pottery bowl that was made by my very good friend, Patricia Larson, maybe 15 years ago. I just poured it all in here. So I have a full mix of all 4. I have not mixed all 4 yet. I don't know what we're going to get. Put the name in Inbox. Oh, yes, Beverly, that's perfect. You know, the extra one gets the name. All right, so let's just show you the mix of all 4 of these powders. Nice, right? Really beautiful. So let's just do a little bit of a swatch. This is that smoothie. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do it this way. And this will be the last thing we do. As Jim calls it, a party mix. Thank you guys, really. I've been reading the comments. You are all so loving and supportive, and I appreciate you so much. All right, so let's just see. You know, this could be an epic fail, and you will decide, because the party mix doesn't work, you are not going to buy this at all, or this might be the most amazing thing ever known to man and womankind. And you're all going to I want to buy it. All right, that's what we got. This is so exciting. This is what I love about mixed media. It's all about experimentation. It's all about trying things. It doesn't matter if they work. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. That is irrelevant. And I am proving that loud and clear because I am now live trying to show the best of this new product. And who knows, this may just be meh. Can you spell MEH? I think it's MEH, right? In case you want to write that down. Janine, Loa gave me the drum roll. Let's get the heat tool. I'm going to heat from the bottom. This is a mystery to me. It's going to be a mystery. While I'm doing this, Lois says she's going to email her local store at Clipper Street to request the quad powders. I love Clipper Street. I've taught there before. It's in BC. I love the owner, Deanna. I saw her and spent time with her at the, I don't know if you can hear me with the heat tool going, but I spent time with her in Germany. So yes, please tell her I said hi. She may have ordered them already. I'm not sure. Oh, it's changing. It's changing. I'm like a little kid. I get so excited. Oh, let's stop for a second. Stop for a second. What do we think? That has potential. But what I really want you to notice, again, with these mixed media powders, look at the color. It's so dark and it's melting lighter. I see all the copper. I see some of the white flakes, some of the light blue. Not getting much green patina. Let's see. It may just be that that size flake was at the bottom of the bowl. And because it was in a bowl and I didn't shake it, I may not have gotten any of that. But I'm liking this. Isn't it magic when it melts? Never gets tired. Wendy says grungy goodness. And that's the melt. I don't know. Kind of like it. I want you to see it catch the light. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Yes. I just may have to bottle all four and sell it as a fifth. That is looking amazing. Yeah, great background. Thank you, Jim. I think for a mixed media piece, using this for a huge background, I'm going to touch it now. It's rough. You know what? It does kind of look a little bit of a combination. You know, you don't have much of the lavender, as much lavender. You know, it may have been that I poured more copper dust into the bowl too. This is a little bit of play, but I just want to do one more thing. I know I said I was going to go, but you know me, when I get playing, I can't stop. I want to just do one thing. And what I want to do is I want to get some of that gilded patina and add it to the surface. And the way I would do that is I would find the gilded patina and I'm going to go in with my, shake it. I'm going to go in with my fingers and I'm going to sprinkle it out over this element. I can see a lot of copper. I can see some of the green. Just going to sprinkle that out. Sprinkle, sprinkle. I'm sprinkling, pinching and sprinkling, pinching and sprinkling. Because as much as I always say, you know, mixed media is not about thinking. At some point, you do have to sit back and assess. You have to assess and make some decisions and some conscious choices. So now I'm going to heat underneath. If I heat it from the top, that would all blow away. Let's just see if that adds enough of the gilded patina. And if not, although I don't know, I really do have to go, but maybe later I'll add some more myself. So let's go and let's see what happens, my friends. I'm hoping some of that beautiful green shows up. The thing about when you sprinkle on top, it doesn't just sit on top of the surface, it mixes when all the powders melt. So you don't always get exactly what you think you're going to get. But this is changing. Yeah. I can see it. I'm not sure if it's so obvious on screen. I'm going to show it to you in a second once it's all melted. I think I can go on top now. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep, yep. Oh, yeah. How many times can I say yeah? All right, so there's some of the green coming in and some of that. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to show this to you front camera as well. I think it might even be more obvious. That's looking good. All right, so let's shift cameras one last time. This is what it looks like. And there you can see, yeah, look at that green. So I could just keep building. And you know what? I could take, you know, all kinds of powders. I'm going to turn this light on just to see if, yeah, there we go. When it really catches the light, that's it. See that glint? That's, oh, do you see that? You all see that, right? Is that spectacular? Sometimes the shots I took of these powders, you know, I posted them, they look kind of dull to me. They are anything but dull, like an expensive countertop. I like that. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So while I got you, you know, we're going to do this now, right? With the light, just so you can get a sense of what that light does. You know, flat mat catches the light. Sheen, sheen, sheen. All right, so now we got to do a couple more times. Oh, yeah, this one. I just love this one. Look at that. Wow. Oh, I said it. Wow. Okay. You know, I never asked wow if they call themselves wow because they wanted people to look at their powders and say wow. But anyway, so this is going to be an hour. It'll be about an hour and 10. I was sharing with you, if you just joined me, Enchanted Alchemy, my new quad for mixed media embossing powders that were released today from WOW. They're available at sethapter.com. Janine will pop in the link. They're available at the WOW US and the UK sites, and they're available in independent shops and online. I just don't know yet which ones have them. This is the board of all four. Again, with that light, then you really get to see the bling. I'm bringing the bling. Who knew? All right. I want to thank you all. I want to thank you all for being here, for the positive reaction, for the purchases. I thank you for going to my website because I'm on my laptop, so I saw orders popping up. I am going to really enjoy playing with these. I have a little bit, I'm going to carve out a little time, shall I say, to experiment a little bit more, and I'll be sharing more over the course of the coming weeks. But I really appreciate you all. I want to thank Janine for being here and putting in links on both Facebook and YouTube simultaneously. If you came very late, this will stay up in Facebook. But again, I'm encouraging you all, hang out in YouTube. This will be in YouTube with closed captions soon. It just needs to upload, and that won't be so long. So if you missed it, you can watch it again. And who knows, maybe I'll decide I'm going to pull out a brief demo from some of what I did and just post that separately. We'll see. But I thank you all. I appreciate you spending Valentine's Day with me. And I can't wait for what this year is going to bring. And you know what? There's a lot more coming. I promise you that. Everybody be well. Take good care. Have a great day and a good weekend. Be well, guys.